As Silicon Valley attempts to increase diversity among its workforce, one startup is making it its mission to become part of the solution. Jopwell was created by two friends who met on Wall Street. Porter Broswell and Ryan Williams have now created a company focused on breaking down barriers for minorities and the companies hiring them. And that's earned them a spot on the 30 Under 30 Inc. magazine's list of the most brilliant entrepreneurs of the year.
Jopwell is based in New York, and with us now is one of the founders, Ryan Williams, via Skype. Ryan, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I read about your mission online, and it's really twofold, right? You're solving or attempting to solve two problems. In your own words, explain that to us, and also how did you and your friend, you guys just came up with this idea?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I think the two problems you're referring to are probably on the candidate side, where we're helping these historically underrepresented minorities gain access to companies that traditionally have been inaccessible for them. So we're really breaking that down for the Black, Hispanic, and Native American communities. And on the other side of things, we're helping companies who have really been challenged by the notion of diversifying their workforce, many of them in technology. And so we're helping them to sort of break down those barriers and gain access to this community as well. To your second question, Porter and I met working together at Goldman Sachs. We were both analysts on the trading floor, and while we were there, we would get asked, help them with their diversity recruitment efforts. And so we saw firsthand a lot of the pain points that companies really had in tackling this problem and diversifying their employee base.
So Ryan, is it your opinion that tech companies really don't know how to reach out to minority businesses?
I think there are a few different barriers that have traditionally made this a challenge. One of them is certainly exposure. So the diverse community of individuals oftentimes doesn't have any access to these companies, no friends, peers, mentors, or colleagues who are working in these incredible tech companies, many of them in the Bay Area. And there are also issues around the marketing and outreach efforts themselves, certainly.
Ryan, I'm curious about, we're talking about tech where there's a lot of really, really smart people working. You talk about engineers, software people, stuff like that. It seems like if you know how to do that stuff, it's on paper. You can prove it. You have your degree. You have your expertise. Where does the color come into play here? If I'm an engineer looking for somebody or a company, and I look at qualifications and somebody who can do the job I need them to do, is there just not enough minorities who are applying or looking for these jobs? What's going on?
That's a fantastic question. I think the biggest problem is that tech companies have historically grown through referrals. So referrals through current employees reaching out to their networks, to friends, to former colleagues. And many of these companies end up growing and becoming sort of replicas of the original founders. And so I think it's something that companies need to start addressing very early on when they're still small, so that as they grow, they can make sure that representation is there.
And Ryan, let's talk about the success so far when it comes to money. I read $4.2 million by big names like Magic Johnson for one, his corporation, and you have Facebook, MasterCard, other big names. So what has been your secret to success? Is it your mission that these companies want to latch on and be a part of this?
I think that's exactly right. I think it's been the mission twofold. On the candidate side of the equation, an incredible number of thousands of individuals have signed up on our platform, mostly organically, because they've understood that it's been a difficult process for them personally to connect with these companies and gain access. In terms of the companies, what we're doing really resonates with them. The recruiters very frequently tell us that they've been waiting for a solution like ours that would help them tap into a specific pipeline of candidates, which we've built. So we're really simplifying this process that for so long has been challenging for them.
As a growing business, are you becoming a little bit more selective in regards to the companies you decide to work with?
I think for us, it's really important to have a broad range of companies. Breadth is important because our whole thesis is that people aren't aware of the opportunities that are out there. So by bringing companies like Facebook or the New York Times or MasterCard all to one platform and then to educate candidates about the opportunities at those companies, we think that's really the critical way to go about doing it. So breadth is really important for our success.
And Ryan, some would say also tracking the numbers and tracking the success. So I know you all are successful at making the connections, potential candidate with potential employer, but what about people actually getting hired and getting those jobs?
Certainly. Now, that's been a huge area of success for us. So we don't disclose the exact numbers, but I can say that for a lot of tech companies in the Valley, for example, we are a very demonstrable part of their entire sort of hiring pool. So we've really made a lot of success in terms of intern hires, seasoned professionals with many years of experience, really in both arenas. We've seen tremendous growth on the hiring front specifically.
How come you don't disclose those numbers?
It's due to the relationships with our companies. Oftentimes it's sort of a sensitive area where they're very public about their desire to be more diversified, but they don't really want us, disclosing specifically what that looks like.
All right, Ryan Williams with Jopwell. Ryan, congratulations on all the success, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. Of course, you can find out more about Jopwell right there on our homepage at KTVU.com. Just click on web links, again, at KTVU.com.